If you're wondering what drew me to this show, short answer is I had a friend who was a fan, and I'd heard some rather interesting things about this show online. So one day, out of the blue, I decided, why not? Also, I'm the youngest of 3 children and the only boy, so I watched a lot of stereotypical girlish stuff as a child. Barbie? Check. Bratz? Check. Multiple Disney princess movies? Check. And yes, even a My Little Pony movie of an earlier generation. Let's start with episode 1, Friendship is Magic, Part 1. The episode begins like most typical fairy tales with the opening of a book followed by narration. In this book it explains the history of the pony's home Equestria and how it was ruled by 2 princesses who were sisters. The elder used her magic to raise the sun, and the other used her magic to raise the moon. And for any scientists in the audience who say that's not how that works, this is a show about magic talking ponies. No one cares. The sisters bring harmony through their responsibilities, but the younger sister becomes angered by the fact that the ponies play during the day and sleep during the night. She decides to shroud the land in eternal darkness and becomes an evil entity known as Nightmare Moon. The older sister is able to defeat Nightmare Moon using magical items known as the Elements of Harmony, which end up sealing Nightmare Moon in the moon, after which the older sister takes over the responsibility of both the moon and the sun. The story ends revealing it is being read by a pony named Twilight Sparkle, the main character of this series, voiced by legendary voice actress Tara Strong. Twilight feels she's heard of the Elements of Harmony before and decides to investigate them. I feel Twilight is one of the key reasons I was able to relate to this show. It's never directly said, but I've long held the belief that Twilight is autistic. I believe this because the next scene shows many ponies attempting to interact with her, but she declines, saying she has to study. Throughout the series, she is shown to be very singular focused and remains somewhat socially awkward even in later seasons. The ponies who want to hang out with her even say, "Does that pony do anything other than study?" And I think she's more interested in books than friends. The ponies were inviting her to the party of another friend called Moon Dancer, which will become important in Season 5. Twilight heads home, which appears to be a giant library, to further study the topic. How she affords this I have no idea, because I'm fairly certain Twilight doesn't have a job, as she's a full-time student till the end of Season 3. Granted, we find out she's the top student of the Princess of Equestria, so maybe she gets an allowance, I don't know. When at the library, we also get introduced to Twilight's assistant, a baby dragon named Spike, who has been a supporting character in every previous generation of My Little Pony. I even remember seeing the character in the movie me and my sisters had as kids. Twilight looks through her books to find more mention of the Elements of Harmony, and in doing so discovers that Nightmare Moon will be returning on the 1,000-year anniversary of her banishment on something known as the Summer Sun Celebration, which is the pony's equivalent of the summer solstice, and just happens to be happening in a few days. Twilight sends a message to Princess Celestia warning her about this. They send it by having Spike light the scroll on fire with his breath. They never really explain how this works, but I think we can just assume it's magic, mainly because he also burps up the responses. They get a quick response with the princess seemingly dismissing Twilight's worries and sending her to the place where the Summer Sun celebration will be taking place, a country town looking place known as Ponyville. Princess Celestia instructs Twilight to make friends while she is here, but Twilight just wants to get the preparations out of the way so she can continue her research, which she can conveniently do as she's staying in a library Celestia owns in Ponyville. While supervising the preparations, we get introduced to the other main characters of the show. The first interaction doesn't go well, as a pink pony takes off before Twilight can introduce herself. They head to a farm called Sweet Apple Acres, which is in charge of the food for the Summer Sun celebration. We get introduced to Applejack, an honest country pony who funnily enough appeared in more episodes than Twilight over the course of the series. Applejack introduces Twilight to her extended family, and I don't know what's more humorous, that she has such a large family or that she can remember all of their names. After being guilt-tripped into staying for brunch, Spike and Twilight go to check if the clouds have been cleared for the celebration. This is supposed to be done by Rainbow Dash, a loyal athletic Pegasus, who for me is the most iconic character of this series, but that might just be because I watched her death battle against Starscream and saw another video where she raced Sonic. Rainbow Dash makes a bad first impression by not only slamming into Twilight and pushing her in the mud, but then she tries to wash and dry Twilight, which has a pretty humorous result. Rainbow Dash reveals that the reason she hasn't cleared the sky is because she's practicing to show off her flying skills to the Wonderbolts, which are this world's equivalent of the Blue Angels. Rainbow Dash then presents how skilled she is after Twilight baits her into proving her skills. This leads us to the next part of the preparations, the decorations. It's here we meet another main character named Rarity, a sophisticated and generous unicorn obsessed with fashion. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been a big fan of Rarity, and she's easily my least favorite character of the main 6. Whenever an episode focused on her, I tended to groan because for me, they were usually the cringiest. That being said, she still had a lot of good moments and still had some great adventures throughout the series. There's also a recurring gag of Spike being in love with Rarity, but I've never given it much thought. After seeing the state of Twilight's mane, Rarity generously forces her to have a makeover. This leads to Rarity discovering Twilight's from Canterlot, a place Rarity has always dreamed of living in. This leads to Rarity to thinking her and Twilight will be best friends, much to Twilight's annoyance. Given the chance, Twilight makes her escape and we meet the last main character who is in charge of the music, a shy Pegasus who loves animals by the name of Fluttershy. Twilight finds this interaction the easiest, as Fluttershy doesn't say much, but as soon as Fluttershy sees Spike, she comes out of her shell and wants to hear everything she can about a baby dragon. After Spike tells Fluttershy his whole life story, they arrive at the library and Twilight manages to excuse herself. However, the lights come on and Twilight finds a surprise party has been thrown for her and she has pretty much the same reaction I would have. It's here we are formally introduced to Pinkie Pie, who we briefly saw before. Pinkie Pie is a hyperactive party pony who knows every pony in Ponyville, so upon seeing Twilight, she got sad because she knew Twilight would have no friends in town, so she threw a party so she could make friends. Also, Pinkie is easily my favorite character in the show, as she made me laugh more than any other and is just an absolute joy to watch. Twilight leaves the party after drinking a cupful of hot sauce and retreats to spend the night in her bedroom. Twilight's attitude here reminds me a lot of myself from when I was in uni. Again, this is probably why I related to her so much. Having had no time to study the elements of harmony, Twilight stays up hoping she was wrong about the return of Nightmare Moon. They go to the Summer Sun celebration and all seems well, but then Princess Celestia is nowhere to be seen. The ponies start to panic when suddenly a dark figure appears, having took Celestia's place. This pony reveals herself to be Nightmare Moon and tells them that they should have enjoyed the day while it lasted, as it will be the last one they ever see, as she plans to leave the land in eternal darkness, just like she had planned to do 1,000 years ago. The episode ends, leaving the fate of Equestria uncertain. This was a great first episode that did a great job of introducing us to the world of Equestria, and also to the main characters of the show. Each character has a very distinct personality and voice, and they are all very enjoyable. One could argue personalities this different would never get along this well in real life, but I don't think that's the case. A lot of my closest friends have personalities different to my own, and we all get along fine. Furthermore, I feel by having characters with a diverse set of personalities gave viewers at least one character they could relate to, which in my opinion is what really contributed to the success of the show. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for the next review.